Good damn afternoon, Americans. Jericho Green here with you once again. And friends, we live in a world that's slipping away into constant uncertainty and danger. Imagine if something unthinkable happens tomorrow. Within hours, global supply chains can break down and never start up again. We've learned that lesson the hard way. And that means the smart thing to do is prepare for the worst, even if the peanut butter hasn't hit the fan yet. You should store emergency food to get you through whatever happens next. And we highly recommend My Patriot Supply, America's largest emergency preparedness company. Act now and save $50 off their popular 4-week emergency food kit, which contains an abundance of delicious food that provides over 2,000 calories per day. Every person in your family should have at least one of these. Your shipment will arrive quickly in unmarked boxes. Go to preparewithjericho.com and save $50 on each 4-week food kit you purchase. That's preparewithjericho.com to avoid being a victim and survive the coming uncertainty. Preparewithjericho.com. So I mentioned something about this a few days ago, whatever, and I was talking about how the Biden administration is putting troops on the Ukraine-Russia border. So now there are even more troops. Now there's about 5,000 troops that have been sent to the border. They just sent, I think, 2,000 more. And they just put 8,500 American soldiers, airmen, sailors, and Marines on high alert here on U.S. soil, basically saying, get ready, you guys are on deck. So there's about 5,000 there now. They're talking about another 8,500. So you're looking at about 13,500. So why would we potentially be sending over 13,000 troops to the Ukraine-Russia border? Now they're saying, the Biden administration is saying that they're only there to back up NATO, to ensure that NATO is okay, to just be a support force, supplies and things of that nature, maybe guarding the NATO bases and stuff like that. They're there to support NATO. Now let's say that they're telling the truth. Could you imagine, again, the hypocrisy train is pulling into the station because it's so fresh in our memories. Could you imagine if Trump, now, hold on, let's go back a little bit before that. Remember when Trump just sent out a tweet calling Kim Jong-un Rocket Man? Because he wants to be firing rockets and shit toward Japan, over Japan, into Japanese waters and stuff like that. He called him Rocket Man. He sent out a tweet. Now remember, I've said this before, guys. I'm going to have to get this made into a t-shirt. We traded mean tweets for mean feats. Meaning, we had somebody that just sent out words that offended some people. I would say most people thought the shit was hilarious, but offended the people with the loudest megaphones on the highest soapbox. So they get pissed, run him out of town. So they traded mean tweets for mean feats, meaning now we have somebody who actually does mean fucked up shit, dumb shit. So could you imagine if Trump put 5,000 troops on the Ukraine-Russia border and said, hey, they're just there to support NATO? Look how they reacted when he just sent a tweet about Kim Jong-un. What did they say? He's pushing us into World War III. World War III is going to kick off because of the way this man is tweeting at somebody. Could you imagine if he sent troops there? They'd be talking about how he's going against his handler, Putin. And if they act like that because he sent a tweet, this would definitely be, they would be hiding under their desks. They would be broadcasting from their bunkers that they bought or built under their homes, because this is for sure going to blacken the sky with nuclear missiles. This is it. You put troops over there? But I beg this question, and forgive me, guys. You know how I am. I'm a publicly educated, dumb, tax-paying cog in the machine, okay? So forgive me if I'm saying some shit that doesn't sound right, but I'm just wondering, what do you think would happen if we put 5,000 troops on the U.S.-Mexico border, huh? what do you think would happen? First of all, there would be a simultaneous tightening of the anuses of the cartels, the corrupt Mexican government, the Chinese people who are sneaking it through our border, the terrorist organizations, the human traffickers. Some of them are one and the same. If you went to the U.S.-Mexico border and you cupped your hand behind your ear and you leaned as close as you could because you don't want to lean over, you don't want to go into their country illegally. You lean as close as you can to the U.S.-Mexico border, you would hear in the distance all of those groups I named go, fuck! That's what they would say, because now they can't sneak their terrorists and their pregnancy tourists, come here 8.5 months pregnant, drop their baby on our soil. It's an American, which is not an actual law. That's some bullshit. The coyotes, the drug cartels, all the drugs and kids and women and all the other fucked up shit that they send across our border. The fentanyl, what do you think that would do to the fentanyl epidemic? That's partially how we got the patron saint of fentanyl. What do you think that would do to the fentanyl flow into America if we put 5,000 of America's finest on the border? Cup your hand. Fuck. They would all say that because now they have to find an alternate route. Canada, eh? They probably head up north because they got a big bitch up there in charge. And I'm going to do a video about them Canadian truckers. Keep it up, you hosers. So they would have to go elsewhere because they're not coming through the southern border anymore. That border, air would barely get through that border. The air would get checked before it came up here. The breeze would have to go through security. Are you kidding me? Those drug cartels may be something down there in Mexico, but you are not going toe-to-toe with the United States military. That shit ain't happening. You can get over there and get your gold-plated AK-47 and get up there and point it over here if you want to. Those troops would fuck you up. There would be nothing left. All you would see were these spots where things exploded. Like the sand, the dirt would be scorched in these spots. That's it. That's all that would be left. There would be no remnants. I remember seeing a video about the first Gulf War. Funny how that one was over in 3 weeks. No bullshit. Anyway, I see this video and it was called, it was a story about the Highway of Death. And as I remember it, the U.S. forces had defeated whatever this little collection, this little part of Saddam's regime, his military forces. They dispatched them, but they wanted the Iraqi troops to go ahead of them in the little, victory lap or whatever, so they would get the credit. So they would look like they were the ones that did it. It would instill faith in them and make them look like they can handle it, okay? So they sent them up ahead, way up ahead. And turns out, instead of going through the village, yay, yay, and the confetti and, kissing the girl in the uniform and dipping her for the picture, they went through and robbed shit and stole everything and left. I can't remember whether or not they killed anybody, but they basically stole a bunch of shit and left out the other side of town. Well, the fucked up thing about the way the desert is designed, it's just a big ass desert. And there was one road out of there. So Schwarzkopf said, I want you to hit, and it was I think the line of cars was like a couple miles long. It was huge. Schwarzkopf said, I want you to hit the first vehicle and I want you to hit the last vehicle so they can't go nowhere. And then I want you to handle every single vehicle in between the first one and the last one. Destroy them. Green light. So what did they do? Yes, sir. First car, last car, done. So then they start running out into the desert, start scattering. But remember the way it's set up? It's just a big ass desert. So the Apaches and whatnot, oh, can I still call them Apaches? Or do they change their name too? So the Apaches started laying them down, and it's nighttime, so night vision. Now they're glowing. They're even easier to see. But anyway, the next morning, they filmed this line of vehicles that had been destroyed. All of them. And There are a couple vehicles where the guys are still gripping the steering wheel and their scorched skeletons are sitting there. Vehicle burned out. You couldn't tell me the make, model, nothing. Fuck these dudes up. That's what our U.S. military would do to anybody who tested our border. And that's how it should be. It should be tough to get here. You shouldn't be able to just throw some supplies in your backpack and stroll into the promised land. But that shit wouldn't happen if our military was on our border. But that's not the case. They sent those 5,000 troops to the Ukraine-Russia border. They sent them 6,000 miles in the wrong direction. Border czar, you think you might have the authority to put troops on the border? Check your border czar handbook. Check your border czar handbook and see if it allows you to put troops on the U.S.-Mexico border. Because that border would be secure. You wouldn't be able to get a grease BB through that border. Man, stop. Let me get the hell up out of here. Go ahead and finish my studio. It's almost done. I can't wait for the reveal. But you know how it goes. I try to be done with the left, but they just won't let me. Please subscribe. Hit that notification bell because every time it rings, a piece of shit lefty cries. Utilize the Linktree link. Get your ass over to JerichoGreen.net. I am Jericho Green. Man, I'm out.